A major AEW debut is expected this week, but first, a major WWE match has been teased. Heading into last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, Triple H would half confirm a report from Fightful Select that revealed a former WWE champion was set to make their return on the first WWE show of 2024. This would lead to speculation on who the wrestler could be and whether the term WWE champion meant that they were a former world champion or just a champion in general. When it turns out there was somebody that can call themselves a former WWE World Champion. In fact, we got to see two former WWE champions in the same segment. After much hype, Jinder Mahal would make his way to the ring to confirm himself as the mystery man before taking shots at the United States of America to build up some heel heat. This would then lead to his promo being interrupted by The Rock, who was revealed as the actual surprise on the night. He would then verbally run down the Maharaja before laying him out with a rock bottom and a people's elbow before telling the crowd that he was hungry and wanted to go somewhere to eat. He would then drop a major tease for a future matchup as he would ponder where he would sit at the restaurant tonight. He would then ask the crowd if he should sit in a booth at the bar or at the head of the table, an obvious reference to his real-life cousin, Roman Reigns. A match between The Rock and Roman Reigns has long been anticipated as the grand finale of the ongoing Bloodline saga, with a clash between the two biggest names of the Samoan dynasty feeling like a natural conclusion to crown the ultimate tribal chief. One question that remains is where the match would go down, with WrestleMania feeling like the obvious choice. With that said, however, a report from BWE has surfaced, with the outlet claiming that if The Rock were to take on Roman Reigns, it would be at this year's Elimination Chamber event instead. Elimination Chamber 2024 will be held in Perth, Australia in February. This inside the Optus Stadium, a venue that boasts a capacity of up to 73,000 depending on the setup. With that said, another report would drop in mid-2023 that revealed potential plans for The Rock to be at Chamber. However, it was said at the time that this would be to compete in a match at the show to lead into a WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns, so we'll just have to see how things play out. In any case, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion himself has reacted to the promo, with him simply taking to X to post a crying with laughter face, with the latest developments being the most obvious tease of the biggest Bloodline showdown possible. Next up, a top star has officially left All Elite Wrestling and is set to return to WWE. Andrade El Idolo is coming off the back of his most prominent run in All Elite Wrestling so far, picking up 9 points in the Continental Classic tournament with wins over Bryan Danielson, Daniel Garcia, and Brody King. However, it seems that despite his recent booking, he's set to bring an end to his 2.5-year stint with the company, but looking like he's ready to return to WWE. Following reports that confirmed that this is the expectation within the companies, AEW President Tony Khan would speak at the World's End Media Scrum to confirm that Andrade is likely set to leave when his deal comes to an end, something that happened yesterday, and Khan would say, Andrade El Idolo's contract is up at the end of the year. We've had great talks. I have a ton of respect for Andrade El Idolo. He's been a great performer in the Continental Classic. I wanted to keep him involved at the top, and if we had been able to reach an agreement, certainly he would be somebody we would slot into a prominent position. I think we did everything we could to show Andrade El Idolo that we do value him, and this last run he's had in recent months has been tremendous. Whilst PW Insider and Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer noted that they expected Andrade to be on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, this is something that didn't end up happening. However, the Idol's former manager Zelina Vega teased that she has a secret on social media, perhaps a clue that Andrade will be part of SmackDown instead, as a member of the LWO. On top of this, Andrade was advertised for an upcoming GCW event in 2024. However, this is no longer the case, yet another sign of a WWE return. And next, an important name has officially left WWE. Kevin Dunn is a name familiar to longtime WWE fans, as he's been the executive producer of WWE programming since 1993, and one of the most powerful names behind the scenes in the organization. This week, a report has dropped from PW Insider that revealed Kevin's time with the company has come to an end. This after he recently handed in his resignation. They would write, Dunn, who held the post of executive producer and chief global television distribution, informed WWE around Christmas week he was exiting after more than 3 decades with the company. We're told that a big factor in his decision to retire is changes made internally post-Endeavor acquisition, and as one source stated, that Dunn was never going to do anything that was dictated to him, as opposed to how he personally oversaw production in the past. We are told that this was not an issue of creative, but 2 differing versions of how things should be run from a TV production perspective, as WWE's new owners seek to cut costs. An internal memo was then sent out to staff from WWE President Nick Khan that would later leak online, confirming the news to be true. Dunn was a close ally to Vince McMahon, who has lost control of the WWE television product to Triple H since the Endeavor takeover of the company, and it seems this dawn has led to another long-standing key figure stepping away. And next, a former AEW World Champion has been removed from the roster. This past Saturday night, Samoa Joe would be crowned the new AEW World Champion after a win over MJF at AEW World's End. This after it came to light that the Samoan was working in cahoots with Max's best friend Adam Cole, who was revealed as the man behind the devil mask. Heading into the new year, MJF has been adamant that his AEW contract was set to expire on January 1st, 2024, a date that has now been and gone, and it looks like the company is still following through with what many suspect is merely a storyline. Shortly after the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve, MJF would be removed from the official All Elite Wrestling website roster page, leading to speculation on if he is now finished with the promotion following his big title loss. A recent report from Fightful Select would discuss the situation, noting that WWE sources have told them that they have not held any talks with the former AEW World Champion and that they believe MJF re-signed with AEW well over a year ago, something AEW nor MJF have yet to admit themselves. This was also reported by House of Wrestling last month. What we do know is that Max is expected to take time off from television to recover from a number of injuries sustained throughout his AEW World title reign, and whilst it's possible that the man himself could insist on the break not taking place, it is expected internally within the company. The fact that Adam Cole turned on MJF to seemingly continue their storyline is a big sign that Friedman will be sticking around, although it may be some time before we see him back on screens. And next, a popular AEW star has been sent to hospital. Earlier today, Pro Wrestling Noah would hold their New Year 2024 show in Tokyo, Japan, a show that saw an appearance from current All Elite Wrestling and former New Japan Pro-Wrestling talent Kota Ibushi, who would defeat multi-time world champion Naomichi Marufuji in the main event. With that said, the Golden Star's performance would be hindered by apparent injuries, something that led to him being taken away in an ambulance after the fact. According to Hochi News, after making his way backstage on his own accord, Kota would begin to complain about severe pain in both of his ankles, this before being transported to hospital for further checks. As it stands, there's no word on any diagnosis other than the fact that it seems to be his ankles, with Noah stating that they'll be holding off on making an official statement until things become clearer. Next up, a former WWE superstar has issued an apology. Former NXT North American champion Velveteen Dream has become a controversial name in the wrestling business over the past few years, with several allegations being made against him, ranging from grooming minors to videotaping colleagues on the toilet. On top of this, he was also arrested twice in August 2022, pleading not guilty to first-degree battery and trespassing, as well as later being picked up on charges of possessing drug paraphernalia. With the new year upon us, Velveteen Dream, real name Patrick Clark, has now released a statement to apologize for his actions, starting with a sorry aimed at both WWE and Triple H, and he would say,
"First, I want to apologize to the WWE organization for any unwanted attention and negative press that I brought to your brand and your product. I want to apologize to Paul Levesque. Paul, you are such an understanding and patient man and leader, and getting the opportunity to work with you and to learn from you, I get the sense of what makes you who you are and how you've been able to handle the responsibility of being in the public light for such a long time. I want to apologize to you, Paul. I'm sorry."
Clark would then go on to apologize to Shawn Michaels, his fans, SmackDown superstar Ashante the Adonis, as well as his own family. Whilst the apology has been issued, there's no specifics given for which actions Dream was apologizing for, with him catching heat for not mentioning any potential victims. With the statement being so vague, it doesn't appear to have gone down as well as he might have hoped. It also doesn't clear up which allegations he's guilty or not guilty of. And next up, a major AEW debut is expected this week. Mercedes Moné finds herself as one of the hottest free agents on the market following her recent run with New Japan Pro-Wrestling, something that followed her WWE exit in January 2023. Since May, the former Sasha Banks has found herself sidelined with injury, with her yet to return to the ring since. However, now that she's recovered, reports have emerged that the CEO has been in talks with both AEW and WWE over signing with either company, although talks with both have been reported at one stage to have fell through. According to a new report from Fightful Select, Mercedes is now expected to officially sign with All Elite Wrestling after talks resumed between the two sides, and they would write, Fightful reported this past week that Mercedes, the former Sasha Banks, had been in conversations with WWE about a potential return to the company. However, the two sides were far apart on terms. In following up, we've learned that Mercedes Moné has continued conversations with All Elite Wrestling just a month after it looked like the two sides couldn't come to terms. Beyond that, those in the industry we spoke to say that All Elite Wrestling is the likely landing point. It should also be noted that Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer Radio expects the debut to take place this Wednesday night on Dynamite. However, he did also expect Andrade El Idolo to return to WWE on Monday Night Raw last night, so make of that what you will. With that said, multiple sources are now reporting that Mercedes will likely soon be All Elite at some stage in the future, with Fightful adding that she wants to become the highest paid woman in wrestling. And before you go, make sure you check out every WWE and AEW contract that expires in 2024.